What is going on, everybody? My name is Nico, and I'm here with Rico today. No Toby today, just the two of us like we used to do. And we are here with the
We
end of the
killed
chat. We did. We killed him. He's gone, allegedly. But
allegedly.
we are here with
I
the
didn't
Enter the
admit to
Chat
anything.
gaming podcast, where we talk all things video games. And it has been a slow week for us here because I had,
Very so.
life stuff happen. Rico got sick. Toby moved back to school. There's been a whole lot going on, and we've got very minimal stuff done since the last podcast. But we're at least doing the
Yeah.
podcast of all things. There is one video up on the YouTube channel aside from the podcast, the video format. There is the Ascent review that I did on Xbox. It's a pretty good game. Go check that out. But other than that, this podcast is available on all podcast services, and it is available on the YouTube format as well. Rico, like I was telling you before we started, it's been a nightmare. I wanted to record. I wanted to be ready to record, and I've been dealing with internet issues since I got off work at 1:30. I got home. I traveled all over Kingdom Come, and it's been a nightmare. It's been a nightmare.
Yeah, it sounds like we've all had it's like I said, it's been a nightmare week for us all. We only managed to get like one video out this whole week.
Yeah, it's
between the three of us.
just busy for all of us. Busy life stuff. Like I had roommates move back in. I was hoping roommates get in here. It was just a whole thing.
Yeah, and to be kind of fair, like with this past week, not a whole, at least like nothing big's been going on video game wise. So at least like we're not missing out on much.
Yeah, it has been a very quiet week in terms of the grand scheme of things. But
now,
what do you got? I don't know. What were you gonna say?
I don't know. Like one thing I do like now on Twitter is like if I see anything that's like kind of worth talking about, I'll bookmark it to maybe talk about later on the podcast. What was one thing here? No, that was the last one. Quarter earnings. That's kind of interesting.
Well, we can hit that in a second.
Interesting
What have you been
enough
playing?
podcast.
You've been playing anything? Because you've been sick.
Yeah, I have been sick, so I haven't had a whole lot of motivation to play too much. I have tried playing a little more of that Hunter's Arena to try and get the hang of that a little more. And I gotta say, it's difficult
Yeah.
to sort of like figure out in a way, because like, you know, you got all these different characters with these different abilities, so you're still trying to figure out like who's good or who's good at what and everything. Because it's like, it's weird. It's like a combination of like Overwatch hero based stuff, but also a little bit of MOBA stuff too.
Yeah.
And then also like fighting game action in a way, because you got like combos and moves and stuff like that. It's a whole mixed bag of stuff that's both interesting, kind of a little bit frustrating until you like actually figure out what you're doing.
Yeah. I forgot that even came out. I was really looking forward to hopping in and trying that one, and I was so busy I forgot to even download it on my PlayStation. So I definitely need to do that after we get done recording.
Yeah, I would definitely hop in and check it out. It does seem interesting. One thing that does kind of like irk me, I don't know if it's just me and my like button mashing nature, but it seems like some stuff, either I'm hitting the wrong buttons or like some inputs are kind of delayed or don't register. I don't know if what that's about.
Could be server issues or something, I suppose.
Maybe it's kind of weird. Like it does run like pretty fine, really. It's just a matter of like really coming down to like getting a hang of and mastering the combat, blocking, countering, all that stuff.
Yeah. So just Hunter's Arena or anything outside of that, or you just been sleeping it off?
Let's see, Hunter's Arena, a little bit of Tribes of Midgard, the single player server, which like that game is like I want to get into it, but it's like that one game where it's like it's not as fun if you're playing by yourself. It's a game that's more geared towards like you kind of want to like play with friends and start a world together.
Yeah, because like, I agree. I agree 100%.
Yeah, because like I was in the middle of my own world and was doing like relatively fine. The game scales pretty easily if you're playing on your own. But the thing is, like, I just got like bored, really.
Yeah,
I got bored, so I just end up like leaving that world. I was like, maybe I'll hop in and try it again, or who knows.
Well, for me,
yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
For me, I've been playing I really haven't played much because I've been so freaking busy. So I played a little bit more Pokemon Unite, just kind of a couple games here and there when I had free time. I played a ton of Apex Legends. I've really gotten hooked into that. again.
Dude,
And
I've been seeing like a lot of people getting back into Apex lately.
it's
Like I've been
because
seeing
it's because the big streamers have switched over from Warzone because of their lack of anti-cheat and everything. Like Tim the Tapman's playing it, Nick Mercs is playing it, Cloaksy's playing it, Courage is playing it. All the big names are switching over to Apex, and it's pulling big numbers on Twitch now.
Right. It's weird because it was like wasn't until like right when you said like you convinced like you and like some of your buddies to switch over to Apex after like a shit cheater round of Warzone.
Yep.
And then it was like as soon as after that, I just saw like a wave of like people starting to switch over back to Apex and saying like, dude, I forgot how much fun Apex is. I have to get back into Apex
It's
now.
so good. It's so freaking good. I really can't get over how good Apex is. The new character's busted all to hell. He really is. He's getting nerfed already. He's very busted. His like just his tactical ability is so nuts. Where it not only does it light up enemy opponents like Bloodhound Scan, it also shows their health bar and shield, and it stops any interaction. So if they're reviving, if they're using healing or anything like that, it cancels that. Or it also, what was the other thing it does? What is the other thing? The flashbang. Did I mention the flashbang? It flashbangs you. It does all of these things and 10 damage. I don't know why the 10 damage is necessary, but it also does 10 damage. But yeah, it does all those things in one move. That's on like, I don't think the cooldown's that long for it. It's super busted.
Yeah, it's like I see the characters like, damn, this guy's got like drip for shit, and then they just make him just as busted. It's like he's as busted as he looks.
Yeah, he's pretty nuts. He's getting nerfed already, but I'm super into it. I've been playing a lot of the ranked because they added a new game mode as well as the battle royale in the previous season called Arenas, and I got really into Arenas last season. And then they announced that they were doing the ranked arenas this season, and I got really excited for that. So I'm doing a lot of those, and then I'm playing ranked battle royale with a group of friends that I've been playing Apex with, and I've just been hooked. So I've been playing. That's the most I've played this week. I played so much of that, and then the final game, which I do want to talk about a little bit. And all these games that I've mentioned talking about right now is bringing up a conversation we'll get into here in a minute. But the last game that I always play that I never mention is, and I play it every day, it's Pokemon Go. I've been playing a metric fuck ton of Pokemon Go lately, and I have some things to say about that right now because they just removed the COVID bonuses, and I'll explain for you because I know you haven't played in a while.
I mean, I've been seeing that like specifically been blowing up and trending on Twitter a lot about them removing like the COVID bonuses or like the something about like the range, like being able to access stops.
Yeah. So that was the big one that everybody got annoyed with. There were a couple things that I really liked. Like they added these remote raid passes, so you wouldn't have to go out in public to raid. You could do it from anywhere as long as your friends invited you, which was super nice. And they gave you normal damage because it's like decreased damage to kind of promote you going out and like doing raids in person. But they increased the damage because of COVID and all that stuff. Then they also increased the range by like, I think it was like 2 times or something. I don't know the exact amount, but they increased the range that you could activate Pokestops and gyms and things like that. So you could, socially distance and all that stuff during the pandemic. And all of the changes that they added were really, really good changes. Like it just made the game better because they increased some spawns in rural areas and things like that. And it just made the game a lot better for a lot of groups of people. And then there was no real reason to kind of revoke these changes, but they finally decided they were taking them out. Well, a couple of them stayed, but the majority of them they removed. And it's just weird. I see both sides of it because for me, when I play Pokemon Go, I really think about, all the times when the game first came out where we'd all group up and like go on big walks and do all the Pokemon stuff back then. And like then when they announced raids and we did raids in groups all around, it was a lot of fun, and I get that that's the point of this game, but also these changes helped a lot of other people that maybe couldn't play that game that way or didn't want to play the game that way. And I think it's weird because their justification for it was that they wanted to have new bonuses, and they have added a bunch, and they're going to rotate with the seasons that they've introduced to the game. And they want to have these on a rotating thing. And my thing is, rather than take away changes that made the game fundamentally good, why not just add additional changes or tweak some stuff that promoted to people to go back out now that the world is somewhat returning to normal?
Right. I mean, not necessarily related because it's a completely different game, but there's like, I play like 2 mobile games on my phone, and one of them is like the way they go about the game is like for every good change that they make, they like take 3 steps back, and that sounds like the case of kind of like what Pokemon Go or Niantic is doing. So I
Yeah.
kind of get what you're getting at there, because I've seen like similar things with some of the stuff I play.
It's just it was just really weird, and a lot of people, a lot of content creators that covered it are really really up in arms about it. And I'm gonna make a video on my main channel because I'm the Pokemon guy over there, and I'm gonna talk about it
Right.
more in depth over there. I just think it's like really weird because I get both sides of it. I get that they want people to go out, and that's what the game's about. But I also get the idea that some people might be immobile, whether it be they're handicapped, they're in wheelchairs, or they don't want to go out because of COVID or whatever it may be. I also find it odd considering the circumstances of the current world where the Delta variant is going around and a lot of people are getting COVID all over again, and it's looking like a lot of places might go back into lockdown with like I know a lot of the local colleges are even emailing students already, and they're being like masks all the time regardless of vaccinations. So it's kind of a weird decision to randomly be like, okay, we're taking away all these benefits when the world has not yet quite returned to normal.
Right. Like even just today, like at 2 o'clock at work, at least for my store, they now all employees, vaccinated or not, have to start wearing masks again.
Yeah, it seems we're going back to what was. Hold on, give me a sec. My air conditioner, I got a new one. It's making noise. I gotta kind of like tap it to get it to go back to normal. But but yeah, it seems we're kind of yeah, it seems we're kind of like reverting a little bit, and it seems weird to take a lot of these changes away.
Yeah, it's like what you got all these like good changes that everybody is like, thumbs up like, hey, this is some good shit. So like, why bother taking it away? Like, what does it hurt to like keep these changes in?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It really didn't hurt to keep the changes in the game. I really don't know. I guess there's like they might make a couple more sales, I guess, on a couple item. I don't know. I really don't know what the big decision was behind it. I'm sure there was something financially motivating them to do it. I just think it's a really weird decision.
Money.
Yeah, I just found
Money.
it very very odd, and a lot of it's all like blown up on Twitter and stuff like that where people are just very upset with the status. Now, for me personally, I played Pokemon Go for 4 years without those bonuses. So I don't really care that they're gone. I mean, I would have appreciated if they stayed, but it's not like I'm gonna stop playing the game because they're gone. But
right,
I understand where people are getting frustrated with it.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta understand, like, when you give people something that, like, improves their experience on the game, if you take it away, everybody's gonna be up in arms about it, of course, whether it was something like they really started relying on or not. It's just like, people are not gonna like when you just take it away.
Yeah. But what did you have on your Twitter? Did you find your Twitter bookmarks? What do we got? Because we really don't have anything to talk about, like we said earlier.
Yeah,
it's
we
been
really don't. It's gonna be like a mixed bag episode. We're probably gonna be like all over the place.
It's been like a real slow week in terms of video game news and stuff like that. There really hasn't been a whole lot of hype stuff or buzz topics.
Yeah, it's like most of the stuff I have is basically like on basically an earnings call, also like sales report on like PlayStation with like the PS5 and like comparing it to like previous gen numbers. So like let's see here. We'll start with this one. So this is like their quarter earnings call about like 5 days ago.
They send these tweets to me, by the way, too, so I can tag them. they'll be in the podcast description.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll send it to you afterwards. But so like here's this first one, and I think they're all basically the same thing, and maybe a few different stuff. But this one here, so far, as of like 5 days ago, basically, or last quarter, PlayStation 5 has shipped 10.1 million units since launch. 2.3 in the last quarter alone. 63.6 million games sold last quarter alone. 71% of them were digital, and about 10.5 million were first party games. So the demand for, or like I should say, like the digital age of games definitely seems like it's ramping up a bit from that number alone.
Oh, definitely.
And then let's see, 46.3 million PlayStation Plus subscribers still. Now that's of course not just PS5. You got PS4 still and all that stuff. And then 104 million monthly active users. So there's still a lot of people playing PlayStation, whether they have their PS5 or not.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see what else. Oh yeah, so far, here's a good one. Right now, the PS5 is on track of beating out the PS4 as it's selling faster than the PS4 basically. So it's let's see. Last quarter it showed like I said around 10.1, 10.4 million units. It took PS4 3 weeks longer to sell that many.
Wow.
So PS5 is already shipping like 3 weeks faster than what the PS4 did numbers wise. Okay, here's like a good one for all the people out there like worried about getting their PlayStation 5s. Sony did confirm that they secured the necessary chips to hit their shipment target for the year, which is 22.6 million units by March 2022. So, despite the chip shortage, they did secure enough chips to at least meet that goal.
Okay.
So, we should so at least from now until March 2022, we should see PS5s at least more kind of like what they have been, maybe like a little more readily available, especially with the holidays coming up. You know,
Yeah.
you got all those Black Friday deals. And another good thing is that they say like their first party games are like exceeding their expectations. They're talking about stuff like MLB, Ratchet and Clank did really well. They also, I think, mentioned Returnal. So the first party stuff, as we expect from PlayStation, it does pretty good. It does pretty good.
And not just PlayStation. I saw that Xbox's the series models are also doing phenomenally. They're the fastest selling Xbox models to date.
I did see that too. And another thing, I don't know if you saw, but I guess I think Xbox announced some type of like event. I think it's like later this month, basically talking about more like already announced games and some like upcoming releases and stuff like that.
Yeah, I did
So
see. I did see they were doing that at Gamescom. They were doing another one.
yeah, that was it, Gamescom. So we could see some more interesting stuff from Xbox coming out soon. And
Interestingly enough, that's the day before Psychonauts 2 drops. So I'll be curious to see what they have up their sleeve.
yeah, so they'll probably like show a few like last minute stuff with Psychonauts 2, maybe like a surprise or something having to do with the game. And then one thing that was interesting that Sony mentioned with those sales numbers is that so you know how like MLB was actually ended up on the Xbox as well when
Yeah,
they
it's on Game Pass.
released it. Yeah, it's on Game Pass. Sony actually said that putting it on Xbox was actually a good move.
Well, I can imagine.
I know, but like, can you think like Sony like admitting is like, hey, putting one of our games on like our competitor's console was not a bad idea. So
I mean,
that's gotta make you wonder, like, are they gonna be more open now about some of like at least like certain exclusives, maybe like going over to Xbox now?
I can definitely see it with some smaller exclusives like MLB,
Yeah,
something that's not as big and as focused on PlayStation as something like a God of War would be or a Ratchet and Clank. But stuff
yeah,
smaller like your MLBs and things like that, I could definitely see that more of those type of games getting the treatment that MLB got.
yeah, like MLB, and then who else? Like maybe like even I don't know how like big they plan on like investing in the series or franchise, but maybe like Returnal, maybe going over to Xbox because you're like, I mean, it's a new IP, but it didn't do like crazy sale numbers. Still a great game, but it didn't do like too crazy. So
Yeah,
maybe like eventually it could go over to Xbox and then get put on Game Pass, and you wouldn't have a fucking excuse to skip out on it.
you're right. I would not have an excuse to skip on it. If it was on
But
Game
yeah,
Pass, I would not have an excuse. I could just pop it up, download it, play it on a Series X, my baby. Like my
I
baby.
I will say though it, and this isn't just me, like preferring PlayStation. It is a better experience to do it on PlayStation just because of the DualSense.
Yeah, I've heard
That's
good things about Returnal in the DualSense.
Yeah, like you don't think of it like when you're playing it because you got all this shit going on, but then like when you actually like stop and sort of like pay attention to all the stuff going on, I was like, whoa, this is like freaky, but in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard good things about that on PS5. I'm not a big roguelike guy. I think that's just the biggest thing for me.
I mean, didn't you play or are going to play Hades when that comes out in like
I already
Xbox
played
and
it on
PlayStation?
Switch, yeah.
Gosh, I've been like debating, like, do I want to get it on PlayStation 2? Because it's a PS5 version, and like the game, I'm not saying the game runs bad on Switch. It ran like perfectly fine, but it's just my curiosity. It's
I
tickling
will
me.
likely play it again when it comes out on Game Pass, simply because of the achievement aspect of it.
Right.
But that's just me. That's a me thing.
Dear. Ha 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 ah.
You all right?
Recording, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, hey there, bud. Hey,
He
Nag.
gave me a heart attack because I turned and saw my door slightly open. And it's like, oh, I thought I closed that. And then I worked my way up the door, and this fucker's eye was just peeking through the door, staring at me.
What's up, Hottie?
Hey, man.
Yeah, if for those of you, this is my brother, Nacho Libre.
Hey, we're having lemon pepper tilapia for dinner. What, you want some?
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
All right, come on over. Be here by 6:30.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna be in the cards.
Well, you're a loss.
Jesus. My God, that gave me a fucking heart attack. Like, you have no idea how terrifying a sight that was. Just to, like scan my way up the door and just to see like an eyeball staring at me. It was like, I swear it was like something out of like, there's a movie on Netflix, I forget what it's called. I think it's called like His House or something like that. And then like one of the scenes is like exactly that, just an eyeball peering at you through the wall. Speaking of movies and like a little bit off topic from video games, have you seen Suicide Squad?
I have. Well, I'm down to talk about it because we don't have anything to really talk about.
So
well,
let's talk about
it does
that.
pertain slightly. I did buy the Bloodsport skin in Fortnite.
Yeah, that's all we need for it to be video
Boom.
game related.
I actually really like the skin too.
Fortnite.
And it has
Sports skin, Fortnite, get it right now.
And it has a little rat. It has the rat, and it has one of Starro's little things. It's kind of cool. The back bling does. It's pretty nice.
Oh God, Sebastian, best rat.
But yeah, my opinion on it is I don't think it was good. I don't think it was as good or worse than the original, in my opinion.
I never really.
I think it's on the same level as the original.
I mean, I've heard people say it's like way better than the original. Now,
See,
I've never seen the original, so I can't really say that.
But
I do thoroughly enjoy this one a lot.
I'm one of the people that thinks the original movie was severely underrated. I thought it was pretty good. The chemistry between Margot Robbie and Will Smith was really good. I did think some of the lines were very cheesy, and the first movie should have just had the R rating that we had with this one.
Yeah.
But my issue with the second one is, one, they lost Will Smith, which I thought was such a really good dead shot. I thought that character was really well done.
Right.
And then the movie was just kind of all over the place. I liked the use of a lot of the more obscure characters like Ratcatcher and, Polka Dot Man and all that stuff, but it was everywhere. It was all over the place. There was so much going on. There were so many jokes that I felt like in serious moments like didn't hit the way they should have. I don't know. I thought I liked it. I don't think it was a bad movie. I thought it was a pretty good movie. But yeah. I don't think it's on this. I don't think it's better. Like I said, I don't think it's better than the original movie, but I also don't think it's worse than the original movie. And in terms of the overall DC universe, I think it's one of the better movies, but that's not a very high bar that's already set.
Yeah, true. I was gonna say DC, was the best DC movie out so far. Was it like the first Wonder Woman movie?
Apparently, yeah, that's the one that gets the best reviews. I haven't watched it.
Yeah, I mean, unless you count like the Snyder's cut of Justice League, which I know people say like that's of course like vastly better than what was released in theaters.
Yeah,
which I still want to watch that. It's just 4 hour long movie. That's a high bar to watch.
Yeah, but all in all, I enjoyed it. I liked it. I wouldn't say it's as good as Gunn's other superhero films. Like, I don't think it's as good as either of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. But that's just me.
Like Guardians of the Galaxy are just like, I just really like the Guardians of the Galaxy. But like this, I really enjoyed. Like you said, I like how they use like the more obscure characters. I like the swerve they did with like that first random like team. You got like T-Day Key, the fucking weasel.
Yep, I liked all that. I liked that, but yeah, it just felt like it was all over the place and not super focused for a long time in that movie.
Yeah, I can like kind of see that, where it just seems like their objective wasn't very clear. I mean, like they did have an objective, but it's like you didn't necessarily know it for like a not not until like it almost like closer to halfway point in the movie, or like after the first quarter of the movie, where it's like you find out it's like, oh, this is what they're doing.
Yeah.
But it's like along the way they keep getting all like these little side objectives. Now the side objective stuff, like they did kind of like qualm that a little bit, where it's like a side objective, but then ends up not being, like when they rescue Flag, it's like, okay, this is rescue mission. No, it wasn't. He was perfectly fine, and you just killed the resistance.
Yeah, it
And
was.
then with like going to rescue Harley, but then they didn't really need to rescue her.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was good. I recommend people go see it. It's definitely one of the better DC movies. But now that kind of ties into what I was talking about earlier when we were in the game section and talking about a big conversation piece for this one was all the games that I mentioned then, and then I just mentioned Fortnite. They're free to play games. They were all Pokemon Unite, Apex, Pokemon Go, and Fortnite. All those are free to play. And it got me thinking, because there's so much talk right now about Pokemon Unite being pay to win. And
yeah,
more and more games are becoming free to play. Like the new Halo multiplayer is going to be free to play for everybody. And it got me thinking, like, what makes a good free to play game? And I feel like this is a good conversation point, because you and I are frequent flyers in what is arguably the most popular free to play game, Fortnite. We play that a lot with my girlfriend. We have a great time playing Fortnite, and we're always in there.
Yeah.
And I have a great time with Apex. We've been playing a lot of Pokemon Unite. So I think this is an interesting point, because we see a lot of free-to-play games come out, but then not all of them make it or become as big a hit as something like Apex or Fortnite or something like that.
Right. I think it's more sense like people like start making like more free-to-play games, because they look at Fortnite and the success they say is like, and people think is like, we can make a lot more money off this if we make it free to play, as aside from like putting a price tag on it. Now that just depends on like the like actual paid content that you offer. Now with Fortnite, it's all cosmetic stuff.
Yeah.
Literally everything that you could spend your money on, it's all cosmetic stuff. And the only way I've seen it like more so like joked about, really not so much like an actual issue as in it being paid to win, is like having like that one skin come out every so often that's just like generally harder to see in like certain areas or against certain backgrounds.
Like the little toy soldier skin that they released a while back.
Yeah, like that one. But nothing that was actually ever considered like pay to win, because like I said, they keep it all like skins and cosmetics and stuff like that, which really I think like all free to play games should do. Now obviously with some games, like the way that they're modeled and everything, sometimes that's not the only way they can do like paid stuff. Like with Pokemon Unite, they do have like some cosmetic stuff, but then there's also buying like the new Pokemon as they come out.
Yeah, and I think that's the key thing right there, is you talked about the two differences right there. And I don't necessarily think it's the Pokemon that makes Pokemon Unite pay to win. It's the held items and how you go about upgrading them.
Right.
And that it's when you take a game that is fundamentally very fun and very competitive, like something like Fortnite or something like Pokemon Unite, and then you add an element to it that you have to continuously upgrade, but you can pay to have that upgraded more quickly. Like, let's say all the guns, instead of finding the different rarities in Fortnite, you had to like level them up, but you could pay for like experience boosters and things like that, and that would give you the better guns off drop in Fortnite.
Yeah.
Like that.
Now that would be pay to win.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that Pokemon Unite's doing right now with the held items and upgrading those. And for me, that's what makes a difference right there. Is you got to have a really good, fun foundation before you start thinking about your paid content. You got to have something that keeps players wanting to come back regardless of whatever you throw in the item shop, because that's what's going to get them at the end of the day. And that's what Fortnite has. It's a good loop. It's the same as every battle royale. You hop in, you kill some people, maybe you win, maybe you don't, you go back in, do the same thing all over again, maybe do some challenges if you're interested in the battle pass. Pokemon Unite, similar format. You go in every 10 minutes, play a new game, different Pokemon perhaps, different role, and it's a fun loop. But Fortnite does it right, where I feel they have a good loop that keeps players wanting to come back and justify spending the money. Right. Whereas Pokemon Unite has that pay to win aspect that, yes, you can upgrade those things naturally, but it's also kind of frustrating to get into a game against somebody who is very obviously been spending money and upgrading those items and just dramatically more powerful than you.
Yeah. So like I think with that where it's like they should have like held like actually like not had items in like in the game at launch and maybe just like slowly integrate them in. Like maybe like as the game goes on like release like a few items in waves so that way like everybody has access to the same items and no one's like has like ridiculously broken items or like a ton of different held items maxed out. So I think that would have been like a better way to sort of like balance it out in the beginning. But of course, as time goes on, they gotta at least think of a way to where like the free to play player can like upgrade their items and stuff like at least as fast fashion or at least close to as someone has from spending money.
It definitely reminds me of how League of Legends used to do it. There used to be these things called runes that you could buy with the in-game currency, and you could add them to your rune pages, and that would then subsequently give you more power when you took those certain pages with you into game. But you could buy like the in-game currency boosters with real money, and that would then give you the opportunity to acquire those much faster and become more powerful than the people you were playing against. And they eventually got rid of that altogether. And I think that was a good situation for the game. So I really think they need to figure out with Pokemon Unite how to remove that altogether.
Yeah. Now I will say, at least like with all this, it's never going to be nearly as bad as a certain game that was not free to play that did have pay to win for quite some time, at least in the beginning. But now is like doing much better. Battlefront 2.
Battlefront 2, yeah.
Yeah, that was probably the worst case of pay to win I had seen in a while. So, but thankfully they've gotten away from that. You know, they sort of rectified that, and EA has actually seemed to like actually got their shit together lately. That's probably something we could talk about later after we're talking about this.
Yeah, and then back to that is I think that if you take away the pay to win model, and it's definitely not something that affects Pokemon Unite as heavily as it affects other games. Like for most casual players, this is something they don't even notice. You can easily play and upgrade these naturally and have a good time with Pokemon Unite, where it's not something that just so fundamentally you have to like have constant money going into it to be good. For example, a game I covered on my main channel a while back, I got a code from the developer. It was the first code I had received for doing a game review on my channel. It was for a mobile game that just got ported to Nintendo Switch called After Pulse. And they gave me a code, and with the code I got the whatever $20 version of the game that was available, and they gave me a bunch of armors and stuff in game. This game, I shit you not, I had full decked out armors, like max out starred guns. I was slaying people, and I played both ranked and normal queues. It was just like a third person shooter, and I was getting like 30 kills a game. Regardless, I could not freaking die. I think I died in the amount of the like 3 hours I played the game. I died like 3 times. And like that stuff, and the thing that got me was you had to spend the $20 to get it on Switch. My code gave me the $20 version of the game. So right. I already had the good armor. So if you were playing on Switch, it was crossplay, so you could play with the mobile version. You were already at an advantage over all the people that were playing for free on mobile. And that right there is stuff that just isn't good. That ruins. Yeah. It ruins a free-to-play game.
That'd be like I know they don't do this, but that'd be like saying like or like for any game really. That'd be like saying like buying like say like you buy the deluxe edition of like Call of Duty or something like that, and you buy it and you have all the guns, all attachments locked or stuff like that, or like a bunch of like some of like the better guns with all their attachments locked and everything. That'd be kind of pay to win because like new Call of Duty game drops, like you already have like a bunch of stuff unlocked.
Yeah, it's just it's very odd, and I'm definitely curious to see how this progresses because like I said, more and more games are going free to play. There's so many more games going free to play. Like Halo is a perfect example, and I'm very curious to see how they do it because it seems like they have a good head on their shoulders when they're talking about it. For example, they've already said that the Battle Pass once you buy it, you have it forever. It's not like the season ends and if you didn't get to tier 100 or whatever the hell it was, you didn't get all the rewards, it's gone. You could still access that battle pass and claim all the rewards by doing the challenges later on, which I think is super, super awesome.
Yeah, I think that's like, imagine if Fortnite did that, where you could just like go back to like a previous season's battle pass and like work towards getting that one skin you missed out on.
Like, I think that stuff is really, really nice, especially because you already spent the money on it. You were intended to get that stuff anyways. I really like that aspect of it. And it's definitely going to keep me coming back because if I maybe, had another game I was interested in, I may come back to Halo or something, be like, oh shit, I didn't finish the battle pass. I'm going to be grinding the next couple days to bust this stuff out and get this skin. So now I can focus on the new battle pass. Like, that's something that I think will really help that particular game moving forward.
Yeah, now I did see with Halo, I don't know if this is for like, it didn't specify, it just said like, for Halo Infinite, so I don't know if this is for the multiplayer, the single player, or both the multiplayer and single player. But the download size, make sure you free up some space because the download size is close to 100 gigabytes. So
I did see that. I did see that, and that doesn't bug that. It's not a big deal for me. I definitely see that as being a big problem for people that are playing on the Series S, unless they have the memory card, which like I highly recommend you get if you're gonna get the Series S because you run out of space really quick on the fucker. But I have the Series X and I have the memory card, so I never really run out of space. I never have that many games on there anyways. But I have almost 2 terabytes worth of stuff available on my system. So
yeah, that's why like part of me is like somewhat glad like some games are still coming out on PS4 because like the one external hard drive I have, it can only hold PS4 games, obviously, and I don't even really want to mess with like that whole like SSD hard drive thing because I know I'm gonna fuck something up or like something's gonna go wrong. So I'm just like I'm just good where I'm at. But it's a 4 terabyte hard drive, so if games are still gonna come out on PS4, then like I'm gonna have a shit ton of games without having to worry about deleting anything.
Yeah. And on the subject of that, I would have put out a PSA for everybody out there with PS5s and worrying about the external storage and all that crap with the SSDs and having to put in your own stuff. Wait to do it. Wait to do it. It is beta right now. Why would you ever sign up for a beta for something that could potentially ruin your system?
Yeah, you gotta remember, for when you do a beta, you are a guinea pig, meaning that they are anticipating something possibly going wrong. Like, imagine you do this beta, you plug in your SSD, and then boom, your console's bricked. The PS5 you waited so long to get is now bricked, useless, donezo. You might be able to get a new one directly from Sony if you contact customer support, but no guarantees there. You'll just have to wait longer for a PS4. Don't do it.
Yeah, just wait. Just freaking wait. It doesn't matter.
Plus, really, like, with how fast games download on like the PS5, like I don't think I've had a single game that has taken even an hour to download yet. Just if you run out of space, just go and delete a game that either haven't played in a while or like maybe you've already beaten and you're done with. Just go ahead and delete it. And if you want to play it again, it's really no hassle to just download it again because it takes like less than an hour. At least that's for me.
That's what I've been doing. I ran out of space initially on my system, but I threw a ton of games on there. I ported a bunch of stuff over from like my PS4, and I platinum Ratchet and Clank. I platinum Spider-Man Miles Morales. I platinum Astrobot, and then it was like, oh, you're out of space, and I was like, well, I'll just delete those 3 games I've already platinumed and have no interest in going back to at this time. They don't really need to be on my system. Same with Spider-Man PS5. I have that platinum. I was like, I don't need this on my system right now. So I just like it's for me. I mean, I understand there's only like 600 gigs after all the firmware updates and all that crap. There's only like 600 gigs usable on the PS5. I haven't had that big an issue keeping stuff on there. Now, granted, I will say I'm the owner of an Xbox Series X and a PS5. So I have a lot of my games on my Xbox Series X. I don't have things like Warzone, Apex, Fortnite, any of that shit. None of that's on my PlayStation. So mine is used for like exclusive games or single player games that I want to play with the DualSense. So I have a little bit of a different situation than most people. But like you were saying, it really doesn't take that freaking long to download games on this thing.
No, it doesn't.
And how many games are you honestly playing at any given time?
Yeah, like unless you're someone who has like extreme like ADHD and like you got to constantly have like several different games to switch between because you get that easy like either bored or like you're just like I want to play something different now and you just hop into another one. Really, you're not gonna be playing like 20 different games at the same time.
Yeah. Like, only
Like,
thing I've been playing on the PlayStation has been Ghost of Tsushima.
yeah, really, like, in all, I think it just comes down to, like, really convenience thing. Like, yeah, I can understand, like, the hassle of waiting for something to download, but, like, with the PS5, it doesn't take long, but I can understand, like, not wanting to wait if you're, like, really in the mood to play something, or, like, you only have, like, so much time.
And then back on the weight thing, eventually there will be guides. Somebody at, bigger companies, like IGN or GameSpot, whoever it may be, will have videos showing exactly how to do it. And they will say, this is the best way to do it. I know there was something about having to put your own heat sink in. Some SSDs already have them. They're going to be like, this is the SSD you use, this is how you put it in. They're going to be step-by-step guides that show you the 100% foolproof way to do this without any issues. And again, I would wait after this comes out of the beta phase and people are doing this. I would wait until somebody has that very, very good guide that is seeming 100% foolproof, because it is something that is kind of a weird thing to do, especially when you look at the Xbox side, where I just slide a freaking memory card into the back of my console and I'm done. I don't have to think about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, either, like, wait for this, like, SSD expansion to, like, get more, like, kinks worked out and everything, people putting out guides on, like, best way to do it and all that stuff. Wait for that stuff. Or who knows, like, later down the line, maybe someone comes out with, like, maybe, like, Seagate or something, because, like, Seagate is, like, what comes to mind when I think of, like, external hard drives and stuff. Wait for, like, a solid company like Seagate to start coming out with external SSDs now, and then you can start using those too.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll probably be, like, really fucking pricey, but
And the further we get into this generation, the cheaper this stuff's gonna be. Like right now, the Xbox One is like $220. And for me, I was like, well, I have the system, and at the time I had the Series S, so I was like, I definitely want the extra space. I forked over the extra cash, and I regret nothing. As time goes on, that is going to go down in price, and it's going to become more available for more people. And that's my recommendation: is just freaking wait. What is that? Did you just sneeze?
no, I had to cough. It was really tickling the back of my throat.
You just like went off camera, and I was like, "What is he doing?"
Yeah, it was like a big one. I was like,
But yeah, my recommendation is definitely wait, and like Rico was saying, just use the external one and have all your PS4 games on there. It does.
Yeah.
You could transfer them over at any time.
Or like you don't even like have to transfer. Like, I play them like straight from the PS4 games. At least I play them straight from the hard drive.
Yeah,
so
but they don't have
like,
the PS5 version, right? The PS5 upgrades, if they have them.
No, like, if a game has a PS5 version, then that PS5 version will be downloaded to the PlayStation 5. But then you just gotta make sure you actually like switch over to it when you go to play.
Yeah.
Like with FF7 Integrate, I have Integrate downloaded on the PS5, but the PS4 version, it should still be on my hard drive.
Gotcha. But yeah, it's something I definitely would just advise waiting on. Wait for it.
Yeah, like there's no rush, guys. There's really no rush. I mean, like, we're getting into the point where, like, a lot of games are gonna start coming out. Holidays coming out, and then, like, that early part of next year, big games are gonna be coming out. Which I have seen, like, rumors going around that maybe Horizon Forbidden West isn't actually delayed and comes out this year. So who knows on that?
Who knows? Who really knows?
Yeah. I mean, this is all from, like, I think it was like a PlayStation's China account or something. They posted like a promotional video, like, with a bunch of the games coming out this year, but it still had Horizon Forbidden West. So that could have just been like an old trailer before stuff started flying around about being delayed, or maybe it's not really delayed. So really, it's just a matter of, okay, I guess it's wait and see at this point.
Yeah, and I saw there were comments on the last episode of the podcast in regards to the, possible delay of Horizon. Like we said in the last episode, it wasn't confirmed delayed by Sony. This was just, we were talking as if it were delayed for the sake of conversation. And
yeah,
the comment was that we should hold, Sony and Guerrilla accountable, and they've been holding this information. And I want to say that I don't think Guerrilla has been like, we know we're not going to make this date, we're going to hold this information. I definitely think they thought they were going to hit the 2021 release if they do end up delaying it. Again, we're going to talk as if it's delayed for the sake of the conversation.
Right.
Assuming it does get delayed, I don't think that they were like aware of that the whole time. They probably just encountered some bug or glitch along the way where they were like, we got to push this back to put out the product that we're looking for. I don't think that is something that we really have to really be. I don't think we should be upset at the developers for delaying the game for, you know, bettering the product that we're going to buy.
Yeah, I mean, like, guys, Cyberpunk, we've learned a lesson now. Like, how have we not learned our lesson? A game being delayed is not necessarily bad, especially after, like, what happened with Cyberpunk. That game was not ready to come out when it did.
No.
It was, I think it wasn't, like, I forget, like, even when it was announced.
Oh,
it's like
forever. They announced Cyberpunk, I think, at the start of the last generation.
Yeah, it's like, Cyberpunk, part of the issues, I think, came from, like, Cyberpunk not really originally being intended for PS5, because, like you said, it got announced beginning of last generation, so it was like, that was before there was ever even talk or, like, speculation on a PS5 or any confirmation and all that stuff.
Yeah, it was
so,
supposed to be a last generation game.
Yeah, so it's like, guys, calm down on the delays.
We're good with the people delaying games. It's not something to get mad at the developers for.
Yeah, like,
enough with the death threats and the bullshit on Twitter. Nobody wants it. Just stop. Just let them make the game. Who cares if we gotta wait? Yes, I think that we talked about it last week. Yes, I think that the PlayStation lineup is looking interesting. It's looking a little interesting given the circumstances. Is that a reason to go after anybody? No, it's not. It's just the way it is. There are plenty of fucking games to play on your PlayStation, okay? There's not a shortage of games.
Like, really, it's like, you are going to survive if you have to wait a little bit longer for games like Horizon Forbidden West, next God of War, Forspoken. All these are different titles. It's like, there's other stuff that's going to be coming out. Maybe, like, not like the huge titles, but, you know, you still got to appreciate, you know, some of the smart stuff that is coming out.
Yeah.
Like, next month, we got Kena. We also got, I think, also next month, like early next month, we got Fish Forged in Shadow Torch, you know, with the bunny rabbit with the giant bionic arm. That looks like fun too. And then we got Sifu early next year. We got like a bunch of small stuff coming out that also sort of equals the big stuff because it just looks that good.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at what is offered currently. And I know that was the whole point of the conversation last week where we were talking there aren't the big, meaty AAA PlayStation titles. But realistically, how many of you have gone back and played all of those games? Because I haven't. I haven't played God of War yet. I haven't played Days Gone yet. I'm in the middle of the original Horizon. How many of y'all have platinum that game? I haven't. Like, go and play some of these older games and enjoy them. I'm going back and doing Infamous Second Son because I'm like 2 trophies off the platinum. Like, there's so many games that you can go back and like goof around with and have a good time with and really reappreciate on if you have a PlayStation 5 on how well they're performing on the new system and how good they look. Like, there's so much in terms of the backlog that you can go and do. And then there are the newer things like Hunter's Arena just dropped. There's Tribes of Midgard that just came out. There are, you know, Kena, like Rico was saying. All these new stuff, like these smaller games that are coming out that are worth checking out on your PlayStation. Plus, there are still third party. It's not like it's not like first party is the only thing keeping this console alive. We have the new Call of Duty, which is still unannounced. We have Battlefield 2042. We have there was another one, Back 4 Blood. We have Dying Light 2. We have Far Cry 6. There are so many games that are coming. Deathloop is still coming out, which is a first party. There's so much stuff still coming out that I understand wanting Horizon now, but it's okay. You will survive without it.
My best advice is, like, you know, while you're waiting on that next, like, you know, big game that you're highly waiting for, take the time and just, like, go in the PlayStation Store or something and just, like, you know, browse the games, explore, expand your horizons. Because, like, Tribes of Midgard, for example, like, that's a game, like, probably, like, years ago, I probably wouldn't even, like, you know, necessarily gave a second thought. Until, like, I played something like Diablo 3, which is what Tribes of Midgard immediately reminded me of when I saw gameplay of it. And it's not a bad game, you know, like, I kind of enjoyed it, and that's because I expanded my horizons. I tried something different. I tried a game that, you know, maybe I don't play too often, which is like, you know, it's like Diablo gameplay mixed with sort of a don't starve gameplay loop aesthetic.
Yeah, and it's that's the thing, is just finding new stuff. And there's tons of free games. We talked about free games earlier in this podcast. Apex Legends just put out a new freaking season, a new character. They just redid one of the maps, the new rank season. All the maps are back in rotation. Go play Apex. Go try out the new arena ranked system. Go do that. Fortnite's new season's going to be coming soon. In September, they're updating. The new season's going to be coming. Go hop into Fortnite if you haven't played Fortnite in a while. There's other great free-to-play games. Warframe is getting cross-play and cross-progression. That is a fantastic free-to-play game. If you haven't tried Warframe, go do that. There's Dauntless, which is like a Monster Hunter game. That one's awesome. There's tons of content that you can find. Smite, there's another one. Smite, Paladins. There's just so much. Spellbreak is another good battle royale. Tons of games that you can go try that I guarantee not everybody that is worried about the next Horizon, the next God of War, stuff like that that you are just unaware of, you haven't played yet. There's so much that you can do on that system.
Right. Now, I also want to say though, like when it comes to like backlog, I am very like interested to see like what your reaction is going to be when you finally play God of War, because I still think it's a crime how you have not played that game yet.
I know. Yeah, it really is. I'm so conflicted because like I've hit a point right now where I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima and I'm trying to get through that, but it's such a long fucking game. Okay, and then
yeah. Well, the thing is, like, it doesn't like take super long to beat. I think like it's around.
You know who you're talking to, right?
No. Let me finish. To actually like beat it, I'm talking about beat it, not platinum. You fucking shiny whore. But I think to like beat it, it takes like little under 30 hours. But with Ghost of Tsushima, you're of course going to get sidetracked by all the little side stuff, so it's definitely going to take you longer.
Yep, there's the side stuff, there's the platinum that I'm going for, and then there's mode. And then there's other games that I like. As soon as Pokemon Diamond and Pearl come out, I'm gonna get distracted by that, and I'm gonna be back to shiny hunting, team building. You know, Pokemon's my game, man. That's my favorite. So like, as soon as that comes, I'm gonna get distracted again, and I'm gonna step away from the PlayStation stuff. And there's just like that. At the end of the day, there's other games to play, so there's no reason to go get upset. Like I said, I've been playing Pokemon fucking Go on my phone. Pokemon Go on my phone. You hear that? On my phone. Or like, what's another good phone? There's one that just came out that I'm really excited to actually play.
Another good phone.
It's another good phone game. I really
see Android, iPhone 12.
No. So a phone game that I'm really keen on getting into. It's My Friend Pedro, that indie game that came out a while back, and you know, this like Matrix shooting and stuff. They just put out a mobile, and I'm down to try that out. There's so much to play. There's so much to fucking play that there's no reason to be upset at a developer for making a better product that you're going to spend your money on. Do you want to have another Cyberpunk? Do you want another reason to bitch? Well, clearly you do, because you're complaining about this, but Jesus H. Christ, you get my point?
Pretty much. This went from headphones. We're mad now.
Yeah, it's like, why are we... I don't understand the logic behind, we are really looking...
Where's my knife? I'm going to shank someone!
I don't understand, though. We're really looking forward to this product, and we want it to be awesome. We got to delay the game, and we want to make the best product possible. To then people being pissed off and attacking developers and saying we got to hold people accountable. Like, we got to hold CD Projekt Red accountable because they released a game at the time they said they were going to without delaying it, and then that game was shit. That's something to hold someone accountable for. For delaying a game to make a better product, that's not something to hold anyone accountable for.
Right. Now, that's the thing. Like, I see people get like equally as mad about like a game being delayed. But it's like, for some other stuff that you see, like companies like Shade do, that's not necessarily game related. It's like people don't seem to be as mad about that. So it was like, guys, where's your priorities? And of course, when I'm saying this, I'm mainly thinking of some of the shitty stuff that's been going on through companies like Activision and Blizzard. Of course,
it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Which I'll admit, I have been seeing like proper outcrying. Like, trying to hold them accountable for that stuff, like good job internet, good job Twitter and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Keep on it. Really, we're not done yet.
Yeah.
We want them to stop being so shitty, so that way we don't feel guilty when we play their games.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, a lot of the companies with the shitty stuff going on inside, that it's not the developers that are working on the game necessarily that are doing the shitty things. It's a lot of the higher ups and stuff like that.
Right, but it's like you at the same time, like you almost like still kind of feel bad for like playing the game or like getting one of their games because that's like, yeah, I'm supporting the developers, but at the same time, I'm like giving this company more money. So it's like it's a teeter totter of like good and bad.
Oh, I agree. I
It's
agree.
it's like I would like love to play more like Overwatch or like even hop back into Modern Warfare, but it's like yeah, I'd feel kind of bad about doing it, even though I've already spent the money on the games.
Yep, I hear you. But that's a topic for another day.
Yeah,
I feel like.
I will.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I will say, like, aside from like companies being bad, some companies have been like turning around. Like I mentioned earlier, like it seems like EA has been like doing better because like they're sort of like they're not so much breaking away, but they're sort of like refocusing a lot of their attention now back onto the single player stuff. You know, they just announced, hey, we're like now working on a new Dead Space game that's sort of like a reboot, reimagine of the franchise, which that's pretty cool. I've never played a Dead Space game, but from the looks of that trailer, I might get into it.
It's pretty
Especially after
exciting. Yeah.
playing. Yep. Yeah. A new skate game like some time ago, like finally being announced, like, hey, we're working on that. That sent the internet in flames. Everybody lost their minds, and now they're also. I think it was announced that they're going to support the Jedi Fallen Order franchise more
Yep.
since that game did really well, which I'm very excited about because that is a very good Star Wars game.
Yes, it is.
One of the best, actually.
Yeah, it's just there's always a turnaround point, but it takes people getting on their ass and giving them a reason to make change. And for a while, a lot of companies didn't have that reason. And I think definitely what's happening with the lawsuit and shit over at Activision that needed to happen in order to get this, in Activision Blizzard specifically, that needed to happen to get shit back on track, because what was happening there was definitely not okay. And the lawsuit, that's the only thing these big companies really care about at the end of the day, is that's going to affect their bottom line. And that's the kind of shit that has to happen in order to fix these fundamental problems.
Yeah, like I've already seen, like, apparently like sponsors are starting to like debate or pull out from the Overwatch League. So it's like, it's good. It's a good thing. I'm saying that as like a good thing. So like these sponsors do need to, like, also these big time companies and sponsors do need to look at these video game companies they support and like reevaluate. Is like, should we support them? And like when those companies pull out and all that money goes bye, that's when, of course, Activision Blizzard are really going to start going. It's like, okay, we really need to fix our shit.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, but like we said, a conversation for another day.
Another day.
Still kind of talked about it.
We still kind of got into it. That's been this whole freaking podcast. We've been everywhere. We went a little bit of everywhere with this one because we had nothing really to talk about. Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot to really talk about, which it kind of worked out that Toby wasn't here, because that's more like of the Twitter stuff and the stuff you got to follow to really get into the specifics of. But hopefully there will be some good stuff coming over the course of the next week. I'm definitely going to be back on the video train. I'm going to be busting shit out to get up on the channel because the stress of last week is now behind me. I'm going to be ready to start working on videos and getting shit up. Hopefully some gameplay stuff after this. I'm going to download Hunter's Arena on the PlayStation. We definitely need to play some of that.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely dive into that. We'll probably do like, a video with UND, and then I'll probably do like a video myself, just like a brief review of the game. I'm planning on like, I kind of want to dive into Days Gone now and do like a PlayStation revisit on that, because I need to get more of those videos out, revisiting some of the older PlayStation games. Like it almost ties in, like we kind of talked about in this podcast, to go back and check out the older games. Hey, there you go. It all connects. It all makes sense now.
But that has been it for the End of the Chat Gaming podcast. Thank you for joining us. And we are available, like I said earlier, on podcast services, also on YouTube in video format. We do have a YouTube channel where we have the video podcast as well as gaming content for me, Rico, and Toby every week. Last week, like I said, was a little slim. There's one video up, but there's a bunch of backlog videos if you're interested. Game reviews, gameplay, a bunch of cool stuff. So check all that out. But until next week, we'll catch you later. Peace.
Peace.